Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Randy's Rubs High School Sports Show. I'm Craig Irwin, your host with 590 Sports. You can find us on Facebook, find us on YouTube. Give us a like, give us a share, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button there on the YouTube channel. But let's talk about Randy's Rubs for a minute. It don't suck, y'all. I promise you. Go visit them at randysrubs.com and order some of their 13, order some of their This Is It, order some of their popcorn, and help a local business out, as that's what we're about, is supporting local. randysrubs.com. And Randy Nance, good friend of mine, New Caney alumni, went on to A&M. Don't hold that against him, but overall he's a really good dude. You can find him on all of social media networks that are out there: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, randysrubs.com. Don't forget to go see them. Let's talk about District 9 3A Division 1 briefly. Boy, did this district get shook up early on, and I told y'all that this district championship game was getting played way too early last week in the podcast, and boy, was I right. Diboll gets the win, 21-14 over Woodville. Really shocked me. Wasn't expecting that game to go that way. Crockett on the road at Shepherd. Shepherd gets the win, 32-26 was the final there. Crockett was in the driver's seat pretty much all night long. Shepherd made some adjustments in the second half, holding Crockett to only 6 points, and Shepherd was able to counter back and put 28 points up in the second half and able to get the win. Game didn't finish the way Crockett wanted to. Crockett, their head coach, got ejected. Don't hear that very often in high school football. Don't hear it very often in football at all. If we were talking baseball, I'd say, yeah, I could see it pretty regular. But in football, not so much. Crockett's coach gets ejected. Fans go a little bit crazy. It's going to be an interesting week this week as I travel up to Crockett. Huntington defeats Cold Spring defeats Huntington 40-0 was the final. Cold Spring in the driver's seat, obviously, all night long, doing what they wanted to with the football, both offensively and defensively. Really looked like a complete different football team. Easton Dean moving from offense to defense, and I've said it off the air talking to some other guys. Easton Dean on defense at 80% versus being 100% off on offense, I think is more of an asset to this Cold Spring football team. Now, they still have a long road ahead of them. The meat of the schedule. We're on the road this week at Crockett. Crockett is not going to be a slouch. It's a game I think Cold Spring can win, but it's not going to be a slouch. Huntington was that game that a good game for the Trojans to have after coming off of a loss the week prior to the Corcoran-Camden Bulldogs. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how they make some adjustments there out of that district. Moving into District 10, 3A Division 1. Let's talk about them. We're going to jump on top of who's in the driver's seat. Anahuac Panthers in the driver's seat there out of District 10. They get a win over Hardin this last week. 65-12 was the final there. East Chambers, they get a win this last week as I'm waiting on my screen to roll across. But East Chambers played Kirbyville. East Chambers got the win. 36-16 was the final. Out of that, dropped down to Orangefield, who also got a win this last week over Buna. 28-14 was the final in that game. Let's talk about who was on a bye. Tarkington. They were on a bye this last week, and, I get a lot of kick out of it because I had somebody this last week send me a little hype video come from the Tarkington Longhorns and one of their players, and it has them opening up with my voiceover, with my voice, and I've said it on the air, and I'm not scared to it. If Tarkington finishes 500 football, they'll be lucky. I still feel that way, and here's why. You go back and you look at their wins. Evadale, 35-18. Lost to Shepherd, 30-14. They beat Huntington, 49-12. They beat Beaumont Kelly, 40-21, excuse me. On a bye week this week, they got Hardin. So I didn't get to really get my podcast out over District 10 3A Division 1 with what I wanted to do here on YouTube. So we're going to rub on it just a little bit. And if you want to rub on anything, get on randysrubs.com and order some of their seasoning. You won't be disappointed. Let's talk about Tarkington for a minute. So I look at their schedule. I think surely they're going to beat Hardin hands down, right? They're going to go to Orangefield. That's a home game for the Longhorns. They're going to go to Orangefield. I do not feel like that they can beat Orangefield. Then they'll have Kirbyville at home. Coach Allen's got Kirbyville rolling in the right direction, right? I don't think that Tarkington can beat Kirbyville. I could be wrong, but I don't think they can. East Chambers on the road. Don't think that's a winnable game for the Longhorns. And it's not me hating on the Longhorns. I want them to win just as bad as what anybody else does that's down there on the prairie. My deal is they're young. They got a lot of hype. They've beat teams that haven't won any football games. So with all of that being said, these are very good games that Coach Taylor has scheduled to really build the momentum and help build this program to get them better than what they were in the past. And he's doing a great job at it. Running the double wing, I think it's a perfect offense for the Tarkington Longhorns. I just don't see them really excelling through district. Buna, I put a question mark on that game. That game right there would be their 5th win out of the district. I look for them to win Game 4 against Hardin, hands down. Orangefield, Kirbyville, East Chambers, no wins. Question mark on that Buna game. Buna's still a good football team, even with all the drama they got going over there. Their head coach getting reassigned to assistant football coach, no longer the AD, if he's even still there now. I haven't read any updates lately. Then they're on the road at Anahuac. Anahuac is a very good football team, and I don't think there's anybody in this district going to beat Anahuac out of 10-3A Division I. Just my opinion. So we're going to see how it plays out. Let's talk about games coming up this week. Lots of good games out of this district, out of both districts, actually, out of District 9 and District 10. So let's pull the schedule up and look at this. Scroll on down. Cold Spring going to be on the road at Crockett, Diboll at Palestine Westwood, Shepherd at Woodville. Then you drop down over to 10-3A. You got Orangefield on the road at Anahuac, Kirbyville at Buna, and Hardin at Tarkington. So let's start off with District 9 3A. You can go over to 590 Sports. We got the pick'ems already up. Cold Spring at Crockett. I think this is going to be a tough game for the Trojans, but I believe they're going to pull it out. Probably a one-score game overall. Diboll at Palestine Westwood. I think Westwood's going to play Diboll strong. Diboll's going to pull the win out, and Palestine Westwood's going to start district out 0-1. Shepherd on the road at Woodville. This is going to be a big test for the Pirates. It's not going to decide the district, as I have them in the 3 spot. Originally had Diboll in the 2 spot, Woodville in the Wood 1. We're going to kind of flip that, and it could still all change. Diboll, one injury, Diboll could fall completely apart and be out of the playoffs. That's why they play the games each and every week, not going off of pick'ems in our rankings. So Shepherd, I think, is going to play them well, but it's going to be a second half game for the Shepherd Pirates as Ked Harrison does a great job and Coach Robinson does a great job with the Pirates and making second half adjustments and coming in and shutting down some teams. Now it's jumping over to 10-3A. Orangefield at Anahuac. Anahuac's going to get the dub there. I think the key game that you're going to have out of this district that's being played, and it's really going to play a factor of how this district shapes up, is Kirbyville on the road at Buna. I think Kirbyville's good enough to beat Buna. I really do. But it's going to be tough to beat them in their house. So we're going to see how this game shakes out. Speaking of shaking, don't forget about randysrubs.com. Go see them over there. Give them a like, give them a share on social media. I promise you won't be disappointed. Just try it. Just try it. Let them know that we sent you over here at 590 Sports. Go to randysrubs.com. Order some of This Is It seasoning. I promise you will start getting rid of all your other seasonings that you have in your cabinet at home. You can count on it. That's going to do it for us. I hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to hit that subscribe button on the YouTube side. and get all the updates on when we post up. And other big news, we just recorded a podcast earlier as we're branching out a little bit. And we will be on the Lone Star Gridiron Network. If you haven't checked them out, they have several great shows, podcasts on the LSG. You can find them on all the major streamers on Apple, Spotify. Go follow them and listen to their Sidelines to Sideline show. They do a great job over there. But go check them out. I promise you, you won't be disappointed. And I'm looking forward to my first podcast getting aired over there. And after this week, Brian Besh is going to be sitting in with me, who does the Livingston Lions games, and doing those podcasts as well. And hopefully we're going to be able to do some of these 3A District 9, District 10 podcasts as well. So y'all stay tuned. We appreciate y'all, and we'll see y'all at the game.